What you eat in the last hour before bed may be quietly pushing your blood pressure up all night long. And when I reveal snack number one, the one that has the strongest overnight effect, you're going to understand why so many people wake up to frightening morning blood pressure numbers and think their medication suddenly stopped working. The truth is, for many of them, it didn't. Their body was reacting to what they ate right before sleep. And what scares me is that most people think the danger comes from dinner. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it comes from that harmless little snack they grab at 9:30, 10 gong, or 10:30 at night, right before their head hits the pillow. I'm Dr. Aliza Wright, and after more than 2 decades caring for adults with hypertension, I need to tell you something very clearly. Your blood pressure is not taking the night off when you sleep. It is still responding to sodium, stress hormones, blood sugar swings, fluid shifts, vascular tension, and even how deeply you rest. That means your bedtime snack can either help your arteries calm down overnight or push them into another cycle of constriction, retention, and pressure. And by morning, that difference can show up right there on your monitor. Not because your body betrayed you, because your routine did. And once you understand that, you start to see nighttime eating in a completely different way. Before we begin, please subscribe to my channel for clear doctor-backed health guidance that helps you protect your heart nightly. Now I need to be honest with you about the word instantly, because this matters. No food works like an emergency blood pressure drug. No bedtime snack should ever replace medication your doctor prescribed, and no snack is a treatment for a blood pressure emergency. But certain foods can start helping your body that very night by reducing the things that drive pressure higher while you sleep. They can improve the nutritional balance your blood vessels respond to, avoid late-night sodium overload, blunt blood sugar spikes, and support calmer overnight circulation. So when people say a snack lowers blood pressure instantly, what I believe they really mean is this: it can begin helping tonight, and in some people, that help shows up by morning. Let me tell you about Dolores first, because her story explains why this topic matters more than most people realize. Dolores was 72, retired, organized, careful, the kind of patient who wrote everything down in a spiral notebook. Every morning at 6:45, she took her blood pressure before breakfast. For months, her readings had hovered around 128/78. Controlled, stable, nothing dramatic. Then suddenly they started climbing. 144/84, then 149/86, then 152/88. She was frightened. She thought her medication had failed. She wondered if she needed another pill. But when I asked what had changed, it wasn't her medicine. It wasn't her exercise. It wasn't even her stress. It was one new habit. Her grandson had introduced her to a little bedtime treat. Every night around 9:30, Dolores started eating a bowl of crackers with cheese and a few slices of deli turkey because, in her mind, that sounded sensible. It wasn't candy. It wasn't cake. It felt small, savory, and safe. But that little plate was loaded with exactly what her blood pressure did not need before sleep: concentrated sodium, processed meat, and just enough volume to promote overnight fluid retention. Her body was holding on to more water by morning. Her vessels were under more pressure, and the numbers on her monitor reflected it. When we replaced that nightly snack with a lower sodium option and gave her body a week to settle, her readings started drifting back down, not magically, not overnight in a movie-style transformation, but quickly enough to prove that bedtime eating was part of the problem. That is why this video matters, because if you have high blood pressure, the last thing you want before bed is a snack that looks innocent but works against you for the next 8 hours. And the good news is that there are 3 specific bedtime snacks I like far more than the usual crackers, cookies, chips, ice cream, or leftover takeout. They are not exotic. They are not expensive. They do not require powders, cleanses, or miracle promises. What they do is align with what the cardiovascular system actually responds to: lower sodium, more potassium, better satiety, steadier blood sugar, and nutrients that support healthier vessel function while you sleep. I'm going to count them down from number 3 to number 1, because the best one is the one most people overlook. But before I show you number 3, you need to understand the bedtime rule that changes everything. A blood pressure-friendly nighttime snack should do 4 things. First, it should be low in sodium. Second, it should give you some combination of potassium, magnesium, calcium, healthy fat, protein, or fiber. Third, it should be small enough that you're not going to bed over full. And fourth, it should not hit your bloodstream like a sugar bomb, because that roller coaster can disturb sleep, trigger stress hormones, and leave you waking up hungry, restless, or puffy. If a snack is salty, sweet, and oversized, it may feel comforting in the moment, but it is setting the stage for a rougher night and often a higher morning number. And here's the trap almost nobody sees. People often choose their worst blood pressure snacks because those foods do not taste dangerous. Chips taste casual. Crackers taste light. Soup feels comforting. A sandwich feels practical. Even cereal seems gentle. But if the snack is packaged, processed, preserved, or heavily flavored, the sodium can be astonishing. And if it's sugary, you add another problem. So tonight, I don't just want to tell you what to eat. I want to teach you how to think. Because once you understand why these top 3 snacks work, you stop being vulnerable to the marketing language on boxes and bags. You stop guessing. And that is when your nighttime routine starts helping instead of hurting. So let's begin with snack number 3. And this one surprises people because it sounds almost too simple. Snack number 3 is half a banana with 1 tablespoon of no salt added peanut butter, or a very thin spread of natural unsalted nut butter. That's it. Not a giant banana split. Not 3 tablespoons of sweetened peanut butter. Not banana chips. A modest portion. Let me tell you about Leonard. Leonard was 69 and had a habit of getting hungry around 10 p.m. He used to eat pretzels because he wanted just a little something crunchy. Then he'd wake up thirsty, slightly swollen in the fingers, and his morning blood pressure would be stubbornly high. We switched him to a banana and nut butter snack, and the nighttime thirst stopped almost immediately. Here's why this works better than most late-night snacks. Bananas provide potassium, and potassium matters because it helps counterbalance some of sodium's effects in the body. It doesn't erase a salty diet, but it supports healthier fluid and vascular balance. The nut butter adds a little fat and protein, which slows digestion just enough to keep the banana from acting like a quick sugar hit. That means you get steadier energy, better satiety, and less temptation to wander back into the kitchen 20 minutes later looking for cookies. Also, if you choose a natural nut butter without added salt or sugar, you avoid turning a smart snack into a hidden sodium and sugar delivery system. That is the difference between a bedtime helper and a bedtime saboteur. Now, I want to be very specific because portion size is where people ruin a good idea. A blood pressure-friendly bedtime snack should feel light, not heavy. So for this one, I'm talking about half a medium banana and about 1 tablespoon of unsalted peanut or almond butter. If you're smaller, less active, or already had a large dinner, even a few banana slices may be enough. If you have diabetes, you may need to watch how much fruit you take in at night and pair it carefully with protein. If you have kidney disease, potassium can become a serious issue, which means even healthy foods are not automatically safe in unlimited amounts. In other words, this snack is excellent for many people, but it still has to fit your medical reality. And there's another reason I like this as number 3 instead of number 1. It is practical. It is easy. It can stop a much worse choice. If your usual bedtime habit is chips, microwave popcorn with extra salt, leftover pizza, or toast piled with butter and jam, then this snack is already a major upgrade. But it is not the strongest option on today's list because its blood pressure effect is more supportive than specific. It gives your body better raw materials. It avoids common mistakes. It helps you sidestep sodium. That matters a lot. But the next 2 snacks bring something more targeted to the table. And snack number 2 has a kind of double advantage that I think many people with high blood pressure have been underestimating for years. Snack number 2 is plain Greek yogurt with sliced kiwi. And if you've never tried that combination, stay with me because this is where things start getting really interesting. Let me tell you about Evelyn. Evelyn was 74 and had one of the most common habits I see in people who are trying to be good but are still choosing the wrong bedtime foods. Every night she ate a cup of low-fat fruit yogurt. the kind with bright packaging and a health halo. She thought she was doing everything right. But when we looked at the label, it was full of added sugar, and the fruit at the bottom was closer to dessert than medicine. She would go to sleep satisfied, then wake up at 3 a.m., restless, dry-mouthed, and hungry again. Her sleep was poor, and her mornings were inconsistent. We replaced that with a much simpler version: plain Greek yogurt, a sliced kiwi, and if needed, a dusting of cinnamon. No syrup, no granola avalanche, no sweetened fruit layer. Just a clean, balanced snack. And what happened was fascinating. First, she stopped having those middle-of-the-night hunger swings. Second, her sleep improved. Third, her morning blood pressure log became less erratic. Now, was yogurt acting like a pill? No. Was kiwi acting like a pharmaceutical? Also no. But together, they created a smarter overnight environment. The yogurt offered protein, calcium, and depending on the product, beneficial live cultures. The kiwi added fiber, potassium, and compounds that have been studied for blood pressure and sleep-related benefits. It was not flashy, it was effective. Let's break down the yogurt side first, because this matters more than people think. Plain yogurt, especially lower-fat Greek yogurt, gives you protein without the sodium load of many savory nighttime snacks. That alone can help, because you stay full without reaching for processed food an hour later. But there's more. Now let's talk about kiwi, because kiwi is one of those fruits that looks almost too cute to be medically interesting. But in one controlled study, people with moderately elevated blood pressure who ate kiwi regularly had lower ambulatory blood pressure than a comparison group eating another fruit. That is important because ambulatory blood pressure reflects what is happening in real life, across the day and night, not just in one office snapshot. Kiwi also fits bedtime beautifully. It's light, it has fiber, it contributes potassium, and it does not drag along the sodium, saturated fat, and additives that so often come with late-night comfort foods. So when I put yogurt and kiwi together, I'm not just building a snack. I'm building a low-sodium, nutrient-dense, sleep-friendly alternative to the foods that quietly push pressure upward. But once again, details matter. The right version of this snack is about 3/4 of a cup of plain Greek yogurt with 1 or 2 sliced kiwis, depending on your appetite and blood sugar needs. If kiwi is too tart for you, a few berries can work, but kiwi is my preferred choice here for a reason. Do not drown it in honey. Do not bury it under granola clusters. Do not buy the dessert-style yogurt cups and tell yourself it's the same thing. It's not. If you need more flavor, cinnamon is fine, and a few chopped unsalted nuts can work if the portion stays small. The strength of this snack lies in its simplicity. It satisfies without overwhelming your system. It nourishes without spiking. It supports instead of stressing. And that is exactly what you want before sleep. So why is this only number 2? Why not put Greek yogurt and kiwi at the top? Because while it is one of my favorite bedtime snacks for people with high blood pressure, the number 1 snack on this list has one specific feature that makes it incredibly valuable for nighttime blood pressure control. And the story that goes with it is one I still think about. His name was Arthur. Arthur was 71, stubborn in the way many intelligent men are stubborn, and he loved his late-night salt. Every evening around 9 p.m., he'd eat a bowl of mixed nuts straight from a jar. Sounds healthy, right? Except the jar was roasted and heavily salted. Sometimes he added crackers. Sometimes he added jerky. He kept telling himself nuts were heart food, so the whole habit must be fine. It wasn't fine. Arthur's morning readings were drifting up, his wedding ring felt tighter when he woke up, and he was blaming age, stress, even weather. When we looked at the actual snack, the problem was obvious. It wasn't the concept of nuts, it was the sodium. So I had him do something that seemed almost ridiculous to him at first. I told him to switch from salted mixed nuts to a measured 1-ounce portion of unsalted pistachios. No crackers, no jerky, no salted trail mix, just pistachios. And if he needed a little more volume, a few cucumber slices or a sip of water, not another handful. He rolled his eyes. Then he tried it. Within days, he noticed less thirst at night. Within weeks, his morning log looked calmer. That is why snack number 1 is what it is. Snack number 1 is a small handful of unsalted pistachios, about 1 ounce. Roughly what fits into a small cupped palm, not a cereal bowl. And the reason I rank it number 1 is not because pistachios are magical. It's because they are one of the rare bedtime snacks that check several important boxes at once. They are low in sodium if you choose the unsalted version. They offer healthy, unsaturated fats, some protein, some fiber, potassium, and magnesium. They help take the edge off hunger without leaving you heavy. And in research, pistachio-rich diets have been associated with lower ambulatory blood pressure, with one particularly intriguing finding showing improvement in sleep blood pressure. That last part matters enormously, because the question tonight is not just what helps blood pressure in general, it's what helps while you sleep. Think about that for a moment. During the day, your blood pressure is reacting to movement, meals, emotions, appointments, traffic, noise, and all the normal chaos of life. But nighttime blood pressure is different. It reflects how well your body is settling, repairing, and releasing tension during rest. So if a food choice supports healthier overnight vascular behavior, that is a big deal. Pistachios may help not because they are dramatic, but because they are stable. They do not flood you with sugar. They do not drown you in sodium if you choose correctly. They do not sit in your stomach like a greasy meal. They give your body nourishment without starting a metabolic argument at bedtime. That is exactly why so many people do better with them than with the snacks they've been told are harmless. And I need to emphasize something here, because this is where people accidentally destroy the benefit. The right serving is 1 ounce, not 3 ounces, not however many are left in the bag. Nuts are wonderfully nutritious, but they are calorie dense. If you keep refilling your hand because they seem healthy, you can turn a smart snack into a large late-night meal. That can affect weight, reflux, and sleep quality, all of which then feed back into blood pressure control. So measure it. Put the pistachios in a small bowl. Close the bag. Walk away. If you want to make it feel more satisfying, pair them with a few slices of kiwi or a few spoonfuls of plain yogurt on some nights. But the core of the number 1 recommendation is still the same. A modest serving of unsalted pistachios, taken seriously, not casually. Now, before you run to the kitchen, I need to tell you the single mistake that can ruin all 3 of these snacks. And it is so common that I see it every week. People add sodium right back in. They eat the banana with salted peanut butter. They buy yogurt with sugar and sodium hidden in the label. They choose honey-roasted or salted pistachios and tell themselves, nuts are nuts. No. The form matters. The seasoning matters. The portion matters. High blood pressure is not only about what category of food you eat. It is about the version you actually put in your mouth. That's why a food can be healthy on paper and harmful in your routine. If your bedtime snack comes from a shiny package with flavor dust all over it, you need to slow down and read what you're really eating. And there is a second mistake that is just as dangerous. People think a healthy snack is permission to eat late every night, whether they are hungry or not. That is not what I am recommending. A bedtime snack should solve a problem, not create one. If you are truly hungry at night, if you take medication that leaves you empty before bed, if you wake up because dinner was too early, or if a small snack helps you avoid much worse choices, then yes, use one of these. But if you are not hungry and you are simply bored, lonely, anxious, or watching television with your hand searching for something to do, then even a healthy snack can turn into a mindless habit. We do not want to build better blood pressure on top of worse self-awareness. We want both. Let me tell you about Nancy because her story shows what happens when you fix the psychology, not just the food. Nancy was 67 and insisted she needed something sweet every single night. But when we slowed down her routine, it became obvious that hunger was not the driver. The driver was ritual. Television on, slippers on, kitchen light on, bowl in hand, every evening, same sequence. Once she understood that, we created a different wind-down pattern. Herbal tea without caffeine, 10 quiet minutes. If she was truly hungry, she chose one of the 3 snacks on this list. If she wasn't, she skipped it. The result was remarkable. Better sleep, fewer random calories, less nighttime bloating, lower morning blood pressure. Sometimes the breakthrough is not a superfood. Sometimes it is finally recognizing the habit beneath the habit. There is one more bedtime trap I want you to avoid, and it may surprise you. Sugar and caffeine together can create a double problem at night. Sugary cereals, chocolate desserts, energy drinks, Sweetened coffee drinks and even that innocent-looking flavored yogurt can push your system in the wrong direction. First, they may disturb sleep or make sleep lighter and more fragmented. Second, they can trigger blood sugar swings that leave your body more stressed overnight. Poor sleep and physiological stress are terrible partners for high blood pressure. That is why I care not just about nutrients like potassium and magnesium, but about what your snack is not doing. A good bedtime snack is not stimulating you, not salting you, not spiking you, and not sending you to bed with a digestive workload your body didn't ask for. And yes, we also have to talk about alcohol, because some people tell themselves a little wine and cheese is their heart-healthy bedtime treat. I need you to be careful with that story. Alcohol may feel relaxing in the moment, but it can worsen sleep quality, contribute to nighttime awakenings, and affect blood pressure control in ways many people underestimate. Add salty cheese, crackers, or processed meats, and what looked sophisticated turns into a blood pressure trap. This is why I prefer the 3 snacks we discussed. They are not glamorous, but they are honest. They do not promise romance. They promise less interference. And for a cardiovascular system that needs rest, less interference is exactly what you should want. Your arteries do not care whether a snack feels indulgent. They care what chemical and fluid burden you hand them at 10 p.m. Now let's make this practical, because practical routines are what change lives. If you want to use these snacks the right way, set a cutoff time. I like people to finish their bedtime snack at least an hour before lying down,